Hi Aries, welcome to your August reading. I'm once again sitting on the floor. I just feel so comfortable. And we're debuting the world earring in your video. The world. I hope you like it. All right, let's get down to it. We are going to let these cards fall out, have a little bit of an intuitive reading, and then I will get into your astrology with you. So we can start with the name of your video, the title being Middle Ground. Now, if you watch the All Signs video, you have some understanding of what's going on in the love department at the very least, which is you having to balance what you want and what you need with what other people want. Not what they need, but what they want. And this often happens to you where your needs can be what other people's wants can supersede your needs. And it makes me wonder, at least, if any of the people you do that for would do it for you. Why are you carrying all the weight? When there are so many things, work and love-wise, that you could be giving your energy to, why do you have to carry the weight of other people's wants? Now, you can shun them completely, but that's not your nature and you're not going to do it. But you are very good at putting yourself last, regardless of what people seem to think of you. So where is that middle ground? We know you're not going to abandon them completely, so let's not even talk about it. And we know it's quite difficult for you to put yourself first. You like being first, sure, but putting yourself first is completely different. So how much is theirs and how much is yours? How about splitting up those 10 of wands, 5 for them and 5 for you? Because when you get angry, you say, I'm not going to do anything for anybody. And then you end up carrying all the load, their load, by yourself, because you feel guilty for saying you wouldn't do anything. And when you attempt to only carry your own things, wants, desires, needs, the pushback you get, the blowback you get is so extreme that it can make you abandon things altogether. Where's the middle ground? 5 for them, 5 for you. The lovers, that connection between people, that commitment. If you aren't feeling it, remember, this is the Gemini card. This is the card of lovers, but it's also the card of deceit. It's the card of transitory relationships. So if you're not feeling like this is the time to settle down, which obviously you have places to go and things to do, then it's not the time. Just be really clear about it. If you're more about your bag than you are about anything else, be clear about that too. As long as you are communicating exactly where you're at and what you want, there's very little room for people to wrangle you into a guilt trip. Oh, I thought you wanted more. I thought this was going somewhere. And you're like, no, I was super honest with you that it wasn't going anywhere. I told you from the beginning, I was very clear that this is all I can handle right now. So if it's not, enough for you, that's okay. Now, when you start behaving that way, people do tend to get a little bit upset because they are used to you putting them before you. But if you're clearly stating, and this is a way to put yourself first, if you are clearly stating that my luck and my bag and my happiness really do have to come first, and for those reasons, I'm not ready to get into a committed anything, even though you may really like me, that does not obligate me to now change my life in any way if I don't want to. I think that's the part that upsets people the most, is that you don't want to. So what? You don't have to. Now, for those of you who are committed and feel like the road is very long and very straight for you, you're focused on money, but you're also focused on love, there is a lot of good luck here. There is a lot of potential as long as, once again, you're completely honest. Maybe there are things within that committed relationship that bring you regret. Maybe there are things that you wish didn't happen, especially if they have to do with an air sign from the past. Voice it. Doesn't mean the end of anything. It just means that you need to get it out. And if you're going to be very busy with work, or if you're going to be very busy with family, then it's also important to let someone know who's not necessarily ensconced in your life and is just, happens to be fluttering by, that you're not here for it. You can only do this much because you have these prior commitments, and that has to be okay. Now, these conversations should be had in a friendly way. Queen of Swords isn't necessarily the friendliest card. That's why I pointed out. It's not about confrontation. It's not about confronting anyone. That will only lead to sadness for everybody. It's about cooperating. You don't want anyone left out in the cold. You don't want to leave anybody out, especially in a work environment. And you certainly don't want to be left out yourself. So even though you may be at odds with someone, reconcile, cooperate. It is how you get the most done. Wherever in your life you don't cooperate, in August, it brings you problems. Wherever you decide now this is a time to fight, it brings issues. So middle ground for you is cooperating, being honest, keeping your needs and your family and loved ones' needs balanced. And other than that, you don't go out of your way to go to either extreme. Now, speaking of extremes, here, bottom of the deck is the World and the Sun. It's so easy for you to get exhausted if you start obsessing about something. It's so much easier to let all this Leo season good luck find you and nurture you and feed you. You don't have to go on any fishing trips here. You don't need to be checking anybody's phone. You don't need to be checking your email every 10 seconds to see if an employer got back to you or if a prospect got back to you. You need to allow this abundance into your life. And the way that you do that is by trusting and having faith and not pushing the thing that's coming in on its own. But you will be happy about this. You know how you like to go, go, go? The wonderful thing, and be early, the wonderful thing about August is that there are places in your life where you can actually do the preliminary work now and be so far ahead of the game. August is the month where you get to be completely yourself when it comes to your fire and rushing and moving fast, because there are areas in your life where if you do the preventative work, getting your work done before the deadline, addressing things before they become an issue, talking things out before somebody else confronts you, you being on the cutting edge, as you always are, works so much to your advantage because you can use that foresight to mitigate circumstances instead of making them worse. Instead of seeing a confrontation coming and beating them to the punch, what you're going to do is you see the confrontation coming, and before that materializes in your reality, you're already finding ways to cooperate with that person. If you see a fight looming on the horizon, if you can sense that a lover is deeply unsatisfied with you, perhaps this is the time where the breaks happen. This is where you get to say first, I can see that you're unhappy and I don't want this for you. So I think it's better if we take a little space, right? The other thing is with going fast, finally, after quite some time, money begins to move very quickly for you. And it's such a welcome change. So all the ways in which you like to experience speed, all the ways in which you like to be first, all the ways in which you like to take care of others, as long as you balance them with not exhausting yourself, you can do things preventatively without obsessing over them. So as long as you can keep that balance, your natural tendencies take you everywhere you want to go in August. And it is so satisfying because unlike so many months where I've told you, be quiet, slow down, don't say anything, this August just lets you loose. The fire of Leo season is so pervasive. It just lights you up and it has such a positive effect on every area of your life. So the only things to watch out for, the pitfalls here, are leading somebody on, getting into a fight with someone when there's absolutely no reason to, and being overly concerned with others and forgetting about yourself. As long as you can keep away from those 3 pitfalls, you are golden and gorgeous and attractive and lucky, and it's just such a celebration of life. It's such a celebration of you. Makes me really happy, actually. I love you. Hi, Aries. Welcome to the second part of your reading. So, your reading is called Middle Ground. Now let's talk about what that means. We cannot forget that our value is lessened no matter how much we personally value ourselves, no matter how much we contribute. We must never forget that our value is lessened when we play with the feelings of others. Now, this is not something that I generally feel the need to reiterate to you, because you're well aware of how terrible it is to play with people's feelings, because you have very deep feelings. Your feelings run very deep and you hate being played with. So I don't mention it to admonish you in any way. I mention it because astrologically, you're attracting so much that you may not even realize how much people are into you until they've gone ahead and gotten really like deep feelings for you. And perhaps you're not in that stage of your life. You don't want that quite yet. Perhaps you want to play the field a little bit more. Perhaps you're just not interested in commitment at the moment. You don't necessarily need to explain yourself. You just need to be honest about where you're at. And if you do that, your value remains intact. And it's one out of many exercises that you end up doing in August where you have to weigh what you want against what others need, right? What you need against what others want. This interplay continues throughout August. So how do I apply it to the example I just gave you? Perhaps it's really fun to have a couple of people around that you're talking to, but you feel like it would kind of ruin the magic if you went ahead and were really upfront about not having feelings or not wanting commitment. It might be more fun, it might be easier, it might be a lot more exciting if it's all kind of nebulous, right? Wrong. That's what you want because it's easy, it's fun, it's exciting, there's no commitments there, there's nothing holding you down. But if you don't take that extra step of making it clear, you're sticking only to your own needs. And what other people want or need becomes irrelevant to you. That will cause problems. So the middle ground there would be, okay, it's not the funnest thing in the world to spell this out, but this way, at least I know that I'm sparing your feelings if you go ahead and start to get any feelings for me. Okay, now this does not discount those people who will make every dogged attempt at getting the affection of someone who has told them that they don't want anything more. That specific type of person who chases someone who has been very clear in setting boundaries and saying what they want or don't want is actually very dangerous to be around. Even though in this particular case, it may seem pretty benign or even a bit banal, like, okay, they're just really into me, they don't get it. Well, no, it's not really about that. Don't let your ego get involved there and like kind of let it hype you. See it for what it is. This is someone who is traversing your boundaries. Period, point blank. It doesn't matter how sweet it is or how romantic it is or how flattering it is, okay? Listen to that again. It doesn't matter how flattering it is. What they're actually showing you is that they don't respect your boundaries. Now, if you think that's a one-time thing, you're wrong. They may think they feel however they feel about you, but the reality is if they can't respect your boundaries, they don't love you. Because to love someone, you have to respect them, and to respect them, you have to respect what they say and what they want. So they prove themselves wrong. So don't get sucked into that. Be honest. Be honest with yourself and be honest with other people. Remember that Lover's card is also a card of deceit. So Queen of Pentacles says your value is intact, it's growing, you're feeling good about yourself. But if you were to be dishonest or by a sin of omission leave things out, therefore leading people down a path where they will get hurt, that will affect your karma, that will affect your value, that will affect the direction you take next. So it's very important in this way to carry your own emotional weight. Now, this shouldn't be that much of a problem, especially if you get it done early in the month, because you have a lot of work to do, like actual work. You're very busy. 10 of Wands, you're going places. You know how long you've been waiting for this energy. You know how long you've been waiting for some fire, and this is fixed fire, and you can do a lot with fixed fire. And so you do. 10 of Wands. Now, Queen of Swords is tricky because astrologically, it is imperative that you do not confront people, that you do not begin arguments, that you do not choose that route, right? Being argumentative, being combative, it will get you nowhere, especially in a work setting, which is where you're going to want to do it the most. But if you are able to temper your words and temper your mood, because the thing is, you're not wrong. Again, you're not wrong. The confrontations will be there to be had. They will be justified. Just don't do it. Why? Because if you are able to transmute that fire into cooperation, collaboration, really hearing each other and listening to each other, not just waiting for your turn to speak. I'm not singling you guys out. We all do it at times. The more self-involved of us do it a lot more. This is the time to break out of all that ego. It's time to cooperate. And if you do so skillfully enough, you will get done things that should take you 3 or 4 weeks. You'll get done in a week. And when those expected delays come up at the end of the month, which if you have not prepared will set you back enormously and will cause you great distress, you can completely just hop right over that. You can miss it. If you cooperate early in the month, you will get so much done and you will be rewarded by not falling into the pitfall of that slowdown later in the month. Now, money is fast. This is another reason why confrontations are completely unnecessary. Why fight with people when the bag is so full? Queen of Swords, if you live it out to its potential, the cards say you end up with cups spilled that you cannot take back, and it's really sad and you really regret it. So we're just not going down that road. Instead, we choose to focus on the Wheel of Fortune. We choose to get our work done early. We choose to cooperate with others. We choose to be abundant, magnanimous, not petty, not small. Now, the 8 of Swords at the end of the month, when the sun begins to move, when the sun has moved into Virgo, you'll want to obsess. It will exhaust you. You will be tired. Your mind will be racing. The disconnect between the mind and body gets deeper and deeper. Okay, you get further and further away from each other. And that's just not what you want to do. There is one way to mitigate this stress that Virgo sun will bring, and that is to start now, when everything is great, when you feel great. Just a little 15-minute incorporation, a little yoga, a little meditation, whatever you know gets you centered, gets your mind off of whatever you're resenting, gets you off of the looping, whatever that is for you. You dance, you paint, you sing, you draw, you move your body, you don't move your body. I would suggest you move your body. If you get into a habit of doing it now, by the time these delays and by the time this stress, by the time this obsessive exhaustion kicks in, you won't feel it. Because you're not going to extremes, you're staying in the middle ground, so you'll just jump right over it. Everything I'm telling you, from the work delays being avoided by cooperating at work, to enacting a habit of meditation or relaxing or yoga or what have you early in the month. It's all preventative. The middle ground here is preventative. This is you going to the middle of the battlefield and saying, okay, we don't have to do this. Whatever issue we have, we can solve. Right? So you're not looking for a battle. There's nothing in it for you. There's no excitement in it. There's no good in it. There's no productivity in it. And as much as people like to put that on you, you're not fighters just for the sake of fighting. That would be disrespectful to fighting. Even violence, you have to have some respect for. It should be done properly. And just lashing out left and right is not properly. Right? Aries, out of everyone, has a concentrated, focused form of violence. So, you keep to that middle ground. You meditate to get rid of the stress and exhaustion. You move your body so your mind doesn't obsess. You move your body, your mind moves too. Often what happens is you'll note, especially with the fixed signs, if you know any that you're close to, their mind and their body kind of stop at once. So very important to keep moving that body, keep that mind fresh, replenished with energy. Now, aside from that, there's just good stuff left and right. But the cards are very clear that when you first start getting this great stuff, please don't say anything to anybody so they can, put their nazar on you and now all of a sudden everything's falling apart. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. You got nothing to prove. Let the Wheel of Fortune show you how far this goes. Let the sun light your way. Let the abundance come in. Let the enormous amount of abundance come in. It's extremely, extremely positive. And it's because it's so early. Everything about the reading is get started early. Do it now. And you love to be early, and you love to be first, and you love to do it faster, and you love to do it before you're supposed to. And this is the month where you can absolutely do exactly what your Aries heart wants to do. Run fast, do things fast, do them before everybody else, get them done, be first. Because you're the best at being first. You invented being first. All right? I love you, love you, love you. I'll see you in the extended, huh? We're going to go through each card. We're going to shuffle through. We're going to talk about every zodiac sign and how it applies to Arians this month. That extended reading is available on Vimeo. It's available through Patreon. The first part of this video was out a week ago on Patreon. So if you're interested in early videos, there is a tier on Patreon for early videos. If you're interested in getting your part 1, part 2, where we look at the cards and your extended all together early, you can also do that on Patreon. That tier is called Aries plus the ZA. The ZA being the live walks we do in the mornings, any Instagram lives I do, they all get saved there. If you're not into that, you can just do the Aries tier where you'll get your part 1, part 2, and extended. Okay, if you're wondering more about the walks, they're like a podcast, but we're all hanging out together and we're walking, we're walking while we do it. So aside from that, if you're interested in a look at the daily astrological transits and how they affect your sun, moon, and rising, come on over to Insta at The Quietest Revolution and check out your daily horoscope. And last but not least, here are our gorgeous offerings for this season. This is once again the Empress, which is back in small sizes. Woohoo! And this is our newest creation, the World Ring. Both of these are available through the website and at the links below. Check out the website for all the fun things, but all the individual links are included as well. If you are looking for a personal reading, there is a Cameo link below. Love you. I'll see you in the extended right now.